After 4 years of petitions, insider gossip, and never-ending hashtags, the movie that many were told never existed, the Snyder Cut, has in fact been released. So rip off those CGI mustaches, change your aspect ratio, and call in sick to work, because this is going to be a long one. It's the Justice League versus the Justice League on Reel Rivalries. Before we begin, this aspect ratio is not working for me. Let's try the Whedon cut. Oh my god, no, take it back. Even though these movies share all the main characters, the way they're portrayed can sometimes be very different. Since Snyder's film is 2 hours longer, heroes like Flash and Cyborg get far more development. Gone is the Flash's greatest contribution to the team, pushing a truck. Instead, we see him run so fast that he reverses time, saving the world in the process. Hey, it's not all hot dogs and sesame seeds in Snyder's version either. A slow-motion car crash showcases not only the Flash's speed, but also his creepiness. As mentioned, Cyborg is much more fleshed out, which is ironic because of his lack of flesh. All his original scenes are back, helping the audience understand why this guy just refuses to crack a smile. Bruce Wayne / Batman are treated slightly better too. Whedon almost uses him as a punchline during the course of his version, but I can't say either does the Caped Crusader justice. We often see the rest of the team go out of their way to protect Batman, which just showcases how incredibly useless he is here. People say he's just a man, but is he? I mean, the guy's incredibly talented, he's an amazing fighter. You can justify it all you want, but I like my Batman invoking fear, staying in the shadows and kicking plenty of ass, like he did in the BVS warehouse scene. Snyder lets Wonder Woman go all out Amazonian warrior, straight up murdering dudes in front of a class field trip. The most egregious part of Whedon's film was the CGI used to remove Henry Cavill's mustache, resulting in a Frankenstein's monster of a final product. Snyder opts out, instead having our alien hero don his black suit. We also have more evil Superman premonitions, showcasing a very grim version of the Man of Steel. Steppenwolf gets one of the biggest overhauls in 2021. Whedon's villain is incredibly generic, with no real motivations for wanting the boxes other than, I'm bad and want to do bad stuff. It's compelling. Snyder gives him a brief backstory with genuine motivations. That, and he is just far more intimidating due to his increased size and slick, moving armor. We get a secondary villain put back, which is Darkseid. It's not a huge role, but one that was clearly planned for greater things down the road. Side characters get more time to shine too. Mera is now British for some reason. Alfred is very particular on how tea should be made, which I respect. Aquaman's Willem Dafoe gets some more time under the sea. Amy Adams and Martha share a touching scene before, of course, Martha turns back into Martian Manhunter, and then Harry Lennox, the actor from Man of Steel. I mean, it's a scene everybody saw coming because it was so brilliantly hinted at never. The last 20 or so minutes of this is just hard to describe. Deathstroke, Lex Luthor, Martian Manhunter, and even the Suicide Squad's Joker show up. Joker reach-arounds aside, I still think the Snyder Cut easily takes this round because of the solid character development to the main team. Let's break down the pros and cons of each. No movie is perfect, except maybe...
Oh, hi Mark.
Hi Tommy. Since Whedon was tasked to bring a 4-hour epic down to a manageable mainstream theatrical release, things get messy real quick. On the other hand, since Snyder was given carte blanche to do whatever he wanted with his new cut, things get messy real quick. For starters, the 2017 film takes up my entire widescreen display, instead of cropping in some bizarre 4:3 aspect ratio. Yes, Snyder lets us see the entire IMAX shot, but much of it was filmed with cropping in mind. So more empty space above heads doesn't really seem like a win here. Although we are going to get an artsy black and white version as well, so, I mean, enjoy. The Snyder Cut is beautiful on the eyes, featuring massive scale, a much cleaner color grading, and glorious slow motion. Slow motion that can sometimes get just a tad overused. Was a 30-second briefcase flight necessary? Snyder seems to think so. Hungry? How about an in-your-face CG sesame seed? Snyder says bon appetit. That's the big problem with the 2021 movie. Snyder is his own worst enemy, constantly undercutting his own vision. Wonder Woman absolutely bodying bad guys looks fantastic, but her new Gladiator-esque theme song shocks me out of the movie at almost every turn. Why does that chanting come up so often? She'll be walking up a couple of steps and that thing will sucker punch me right in the gut. The additional anti-life equation plot felt unnecessary and like something the MCU often gets criticized for, adding world-building plots that will maybe come up later. In this Justice League's case, that's a massive maybe. Joss Whedon removes anti-life, along with pretty much every other plot. Instead, we have newly directed scenes that make very little sense or appear to have been created just for the memes. Awkward Superman cell phone footage, a Batman rooftop rumble, this shot, this shot, this shot, this family, and of course, this acting.
Kal-El, no!
That last one is sadly said in both versions. 2021 has plenty of head-scratching choices too, but the spectacle is far greater, with more violent fight scenes, lengthier large-scale battles, and a more serious tone overall. And of course that tease to what the future probably doesn't hold. The last one's a pro or con depending on your taste. Ending aside, I enjoyed the original vision far more than Whedon's attempt. Let's expand upon that a bit more in round 3. This one goes to the Snyder Cut. If there's one thing the DCEU does really well, it's action. Since these heroes don't often seem to care much about the damage they cause, we get to see unbridled destruction left in their wake. There's some large differences between the two here. Whedon lets Batman do some investigating, where he takes out a parademon and finds out his guts and blood on the wall form a mother box picture. For some reason. Makes sense. He also shows the audience how useless Flash is by having him race Superman and only manage to save a couple people. I feel like Steppy got those mother boxes faster than I do going through the line at a Starbucks. I mean, this thing was over in like 20 minutes for him. Batman racks up a much larger kill count in 2021, which again isn't really the Batman I enjoy watching on screen, but you know, what do you do? It's better than bat nipples. The Snyder Cut adds a 300-style football sequence, slowing down and speeding up in a single play. The Atlantean and Themysciran fights are longer and more brutal. Steppenwolf knows how to swim, man. He's out there, he's doing it. He's like a great white, tearing foes in half, blood trail and all. I'm a sucker for a good slow motion shot as much as the next, but I think Whedon's approach to a less is more style is maybe more fitting here. Since these are in essence mostly the same movie, just cut up and presented in different ways, there are plenty of great action moments in both. The fight down in the sewer, the incredible mother box chase with the Amazonians, awesome Batman vehicles and tech, and of course, the final battle against Steppenwolf. In the Snyder Cut, he gets full-blown fatality'd. Superman whittles him down, Aquaman takes the credit, and Wonder Woman goes for the head. My favorite in both is still the fight against a confused Kal-El, with the best moment coming from Flash getting side-eyed by the Kryptonian. Special shout out to the cop down below, whose first thought upon seeing Superman hover in the sky is to go for the gun. Sure hope you lace those bullets with kryptonite, bud. Odd slow motion and truly horrendous music aside, it's really tough to top Snyder when it comes to the action. Another win for him. Let's finish this out. I think the choice is pretty clear. As much as Whedon tried, Snyder's film is just in another league. I'm sorry. Warner Brothers should have waited for Snyder to finish the job he started before rushing out a hacked version. That said, at least he was given the opportunity to put things right. This movie was the vision of one man all along, and he finally got to show it to the world. And you know what? That's pretty awesome. You heard my take, now I want yours. Leave a comment with your winner, like the video if you had some fun, and I'll see you next time on another Reel Rivalries. And who knows, in maybe another year or two we'll get the definitive version, the Topher Grace cut, the man responsible for whittling down the prequels and the Hobbit trilogy. There's a perfect 3-hour movie in here somewhere, I just know it. There's an awesome sequence where Flash runs around the side, tips Wonder Woman's sword back to her. She gets the sword and then lands at the way bottom of this area. So what was the point? She would have been next to the sword on the ground anyways. Flash saved her like 1 second of pickup time and took himself out of the equation. These are sadly the things that keep me up at night.